Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It is always fantastically good to be with you, and especially to be with my friends who are in the Middle East and holding up the fort for leadership development and in that area and beyond. Mohammed Shukri, good morning.
Good morning to you from Bahrain.
And good morning to Phoebe Francis.
Good morning to you all from Dubai.
There we go. We've got the two most important countries in the Middle East covered off. Well, almost the two most important. So, gentlemen, I want to talk to you about what happens when someone in the team does something wrong that whoops, I nearly used the word manager, that the leader is not happy with, that leader is concerned about. Maybe it's a repetitive action that's negative. What should a leader do with this behavior?
All right. So we know that, like any other relationship between any group of people, because humans are there, there will be emotions, there will be actions, and not everything will fall in place always. So just because you are a leader, and we thank you for being a leader to those people who are also fortunate to have you a leader, doesn't mean that they will not do things that you do not like. And when you do not like things, you're not happy. So some of these things might sound also so personal to you. Sometimes the actions they do, whether it's declining work, delaying something, defying your orders, whatever, all right, it might do something inside of you. And instead of acting as a leader, you will be inclined to respond, defend, and take it personally, which is the opposite of what? Of our topic today, forgiveness, letting go, in other words. So, in order to resume your work as a leader who can see the picture properly, you need to let go. In other words, act really professionally in this regard.
Now, I just want to check in with you, particularly on this, Mohammed, because I know that there are times when you remind me that at the start of our conversation that I should remind people that we are the representing the Leadership Challenge Middle East, and that I'm a certified master of the Leadership Challenge, and that each of you are trained with facilitators and so on. And I didn't do it this time. And I have missed on one or two other occasions in these over 80 we have done now conversations like this. So, Mohammed, will you forgive me for not doing it?
We already did. Me and Phoebe, we forgive you for that.
And I need to ask, I had some technical issues coming to this call today, and so I really need to ask if you'll forgive me because of the technical issues, which I tried to sort out as quickly as I could. But so, thank you for forgiving me, Phoebe.
And that's another example of that the channel is going healthily and powerfully. If we took every flow we did personally and didn't let go, then how we will people look at us in the channel and they think, oh, nothing goes wrong with these people, they are so good friends. We are very good friends because we actually don't pay attention to the nitty-gritty things, and we move forward, and we don't take anything personally. And actually, none of us actually does anything in that regard. Anyway, let's not go personal, and let's talk to our viewers.
No, I really need to catch up on Phoebe's thoughts, but just on one point there, the way our relationships work, the three of us, we are responsive to each other. We do apologize or recognize their needs, and we don't, I hope, take anything for granted. There was one comment that I made this week, which I thought afterwards, you guys shouldn't have made it quite that way to Phoebe. I was making an assumption, and but we are open in our relationship and communications, which is critically important for success of any relationship. Phoebe, your wisdom, please.
This remind me of the first practice of exemplary leadership, that is the modeling the way. And in modeling the way, like imagine that, are we modeling when we have unforgiveness with us? Are we modeling our values when we hold grudge with someone else? We all have experiences which might have been very hurtful at that moment for sometimes, but we also recognize as individuals that people fail in their values at times, and yes, maybe we may be able to guide them out of that. Sometimes we may not be able to guide them, and the only thing which will be helpful for example, as a leader, is modeling the way yourself, like, okay, whatever the circumstances that person is, we, as what is within our control is forgiveness, and that forgiveness will be actually helping us as leaders. And Graham, I always like to bring the thought process which you always highlight. Leadership is everyone's business. It is my business to forgive that person, in the process in which it makes me feel better as a human, and that gives me the opportunity to have a vision which is for myself helpful. How, for example, we always say self-care. This is also part of self-care. When we forgive, what transition happens within us. So I want to bring this point to all our viewers and listeners. Letting go helps us in the process as individuals.
Yeah, I think it's such a wonderful value to have, that we forgive. Now, in using forgiveness, we don't necessarily have to say to that person who has done something wrong by us, we don't need to say, excuse me, I just need to tell you that I forgive you. Oh, really? What did you do? What did I do? I'm sorry. We don't always need to verbalize it or write an email or carry a banner saying, I forgive Phoebe. We don't need to necessarily do that. But when we internalize, sometimes we do, and that is, I'm not dismissing that. But when we internalize the forgiveness concept, because of what someone has done to us, whether it's someone inadvertently, quite often, doing something that we weren't happy with, we can go one of two ways. We can build up a grudge, which is an ongoing negative feeling about what that person is like and what they're doing to me. I don't like it, so I don't like them now because they've done this. We can build up this negative thing, which will continue and can clutter our mind. It becomes part of the baggage that we accumulate in the mind negatively. Or we can simply say, I forgive him or her for what they did. I'm letting go of any negative feelings or anything that might be wrong. I'm letting go of that. And I can assure you, and this is related to emotional intelligence as well, when you let go of this, you as an individual maintain much more continuity with your high rate of mental awareness and how you're dealing with things that occur. You're not building up negativity that you carry with you in your mind. I forgive him for doing this. Now, I'm going to give two quick examples. I was working at a CHRO in Oman some years ago, and I told him or mentioned the value, as we could call it, of forgiveness. And he said, oh, wow. He said, that is so important for me. At the end of every day, I go through what's happened to me during the day and what people may have said or done, and I identify what is there that concerned me, and I forgive them. It's letting go in his mind of what this person or people or just letting it go. And the other one, and I'm going to come back to Muhammad, is this started for me way back in a workshop when I distributed the list of values that I like people to talk about. And I say there's a blank line or two at the bottom of the page. If you want to add a value that's not there, please feel free to add that value if it's important for you. And one gentleman added the word forgiveness. And I went, like the other gentleman I was telling about, I went, wow, that is so important. I'm going to include that on the list of values. Forgiveness. I think it is so important for individuals. And this concept of forgiveness is not just going to apply to the people that we are working with, but it also applies in our personal relationships. Very personal. Your partner, your children. Now, you can, it always helps though if you verbalize it. I'm going to let it go. You can say, I wasn't happy with what you did, but I'm going to let it go.
It's important to know that what does the opposite do? The opposite, let me call it in this context, the opposite of forgiveness is taking it personally. All right, we are talking about actions that are seemingly directed towards you personally. We are not talking about corporate mistakes that it didn't harm you personally. That is in another subject. You can coach them and you can help them, but we are talking about
We're talking about.
I'm sorry, there's a phone call that came and it removed my screen. I'm coming back. All right.
You're there. We're seeing you.
So where am I? So I will not take that phone call personally. They called me by mistake. So what we need to do, we can coach them in that regard. But if it's aimed towards you, what you can do is that you don't retaliate. The point is that you don't take any action. Some people ask, what does forgiving look like? Okay, I'll let go, but what do I do? On the outer side, you do not do anything to show your that you are, upset with it, etc. Otherwise, the workplace will become toxic, and your actions as a leader are 10 times as powerful as the action of someone who is not. So imagine that you can multiply that, and it will become amplified. So you don't. But if he did something towards you which harms you personally, and also hurts the team, hurts the work, affects the overall performance, then you need to separate that from you and deal with it. By forgiving, we don't mean you don't deal with the problem. By forgiving, we don't mean you allow that person to continue their toxicity across. You can let go of yours because this is how you can otherwise you cannot handle the issue. You can let go, forgive, but also you need to deal with that. That's the only thing I wanted to say as an exception.
Yes.
I think one to add at this point is, imagine that, we all want to model the way and inspire a shared vision. Actually, when we hold on to some of these hurtful feelings, it is actually impacting our vision. It acts as a constraint on us. And
Yes.
that is something which we have to see. So I'm bringing the second practice of leadership challenge. Are we inspiring a shared vision by holding on? Because holding on often pull you back in the process. So to inspire, what can we do differently? And that is where forgiveness comes in. And that is where letting go comes in, where the momentum can be built to that shared vision. And here is where everyone, as we know, leadership is everyone's business, and we have to move forward,
Yes.
forgiving the past.
Now, let's just deal with an example in a practical sense. Shall we do that? Now, emotional intelligence is also involved in this particular concept of forgiveness, because if forgiveness is required, it's because of an action or behavior which has affected us that we don't feel comfortable with. And it can accumulate, as Phoebe was saying. I actually think that there will be some people, I hope not a lot, who will almost have a list in their mind of the things that have been done wrong to them. And they've got a list of people who, over the last 20 years, have done things that they weren't happy with, and they've got this list of people. He did this wrong, and he did this wrong, and this wrong. No, don't build up lists of people in your mind who've done the wrong thing by you. So let me just say, as a leader, one of my team members does something I would be wanting, and this is a combination of emotional intelligence. So I'm aware of what he or she has done or said and how it's impacted on me. And I might say, can we have a little chat? Oh, yeah. You know how I'm always open about emotions and how I'm feeling. And I like to have people understand how I'm feeling at the time and what it's done for me. Is this okay? Yeah, yeah. I remember this happened, this event, what you did yesterday at 3 o'clock, or I want to talk about that. What you did at the time, I'm going to suggest maybe you had other things on your mind. Maybe you weren't thinking correctly about what you did. But what you did or said certainly caused me a deal of offence. I wasn't comfortable with what you said. I didn't think it was fair for you to say that. And I think it was ill-advised for you to make that comment. But are you aware of the comment? Yeah, I thought it was okay. I didn't think it. No. Well, sometimes we say things and we're not aware necessarily of the impact that it's going to have on that other person. But I just need to tell you that I was upset about it. I didn't let it fester or I didn't lose any sleep over it last night, put it that way. But I just want to say that I'm sure now that you know that caused me that anxiety or displeasure, that you'll make sure or do your best that that doesn't happen again. And I want to say now that I actually forgive you for what you did. I want you to know that we're moving forward. I'm not going to regard that as a black mark against you or anything like that at all. I'm going to accept that you didn't mean it. And I'm going to say that I forgive you, but I want to make sure that you won't do that again. Is that okay? Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you. How does that sound?
Absolutely. I mean, look how the world will look like. I mean, if we practice forgiveness, I mean, to me, it's the difference between heaven and hell. You know, the world can be.
But look, I'm just going to draw it here. It relates to various faiths that we believe in, Christian, Muslim, and others. When a family has a significant loss, let's say there is a multiple shooting or whatever, and 3 of the family members are killed, horrendous situation. And because of the faith of the closely affected people, because their loved ones have been taken, closely affected, and the perpetrator of this crime has been caught, and they then say, and I forgive you. Now, I think with some of us, you think, what? They just murdered 3 of your close family members, and your religious belief has you so strong on this that you will say to this person, I forgive you. Personally, if I was in that situation, I don't know what I would do. I really don't know what I would do if my family members were so egregiously taken away. I don't know what I'd do. Maybe each of you would be able to say, yeah, I would then be able, because my faith, be able to forgive this person. That's just a huge thing. But I'm applauding, I think it's really good because that person or the family members who forgive are able to move on a little bit better than if they don't forgive. So I'm not in any way critical of people saying, I forgive you. I genuinely think it's a gift that we are giving to the other person. And we're not going to carry any as much negativity if we didn't forgive. Gentlemen, your comments on my rather perhaps controversial comment about how significant an event can lead to forgiveness.
One of my thought process at this point, Graham, is, leadership without forgiveness is transactional.
Yeah.
And one aspect which, we have to highlight that there are spaces where mistakes happen, genuine mistakes. Sometimes there are willful mistakes.
Yeah.
And yes, sometimes we have the organizational process from a workplace and workforce perspective. But from a human side, what makes us human is that forgiveness part. And we move on ourselves, making it lighter. And from an organizational context, I want to bring that as a challenge. Yes, you are like leadership is everyone's business, and one of that is challenging the process. Why can't you forgive?
Mm.
Take it in that fashion and see. Yes, failures, mistakes happens, and it is also an opportunity for experimentation, and especially if in the challenge the process innovation, sometimes in the process of innovation mistakes happen, and genuine mistakes often. And it is our responsibility to understand that and amend in that process and move on. And this creates what we all call the psychological safety for our people.
Yeah. Look, and you mentioned about the mistakes that can occur. And let's just say, I'm going to use a silly example here, as I sometimes do. Let's just one of my team members crashes the company car and causes a lot of damage. And guess what? He does it again next week. Oh, I forgive you. And again the week after. Oh, I forgive you. No, it's not just about forgiving on those things. In those situations, of course, we've got to discuss with the person why it happened and make sure it doesn't happen, etc. I'm sure you didn't mean it, etc. Please avoid. But for the people that you're dealing with and working with, and you have a relationship, leadership's a relationship, that they know that they will be forgiven if they make an error or if they do something that's not right. But it also means that we can talk about it. We can talk about the issue that's occurred and make sure we're clean about that in the future. We're not going to do it again. We didn't mean it, all of those sorts of things. And you know what? I would also think I think it's a very strong value for leaders to have, that they forgive things that occur that shouldn't have occurred. And when the people know that they forgive in genuineness, they forgive, that they will also be trying to make sure they don't do things that cross a line, that are offensive or difficult for that person. Don't you think? I mean, if I knew that someone had a value, very strong value in forgiving, I would want to do the best by that person that I could, so that forgiving would never be needed, even though he was going to forgive me. I would want to be, to me, it just is such a strong value of integrity as well. Integrity is a value, but it's related to that. I forgive him. Wow. I just think I wish everybody had a value of forgiveness. Mohammed, please.
Again, I just want to, underscore the fact that you're doing a favor to yourself when you forgive. And I know it's not easy, but you will never be able to, take control, if for the lack of a better word, take control of things and act naturally if you do not forgive. Otherwise, you will not be in a position that you can see things properly, do things properly, and allow everyone in the team to prosper and progress, and there's work to do, etc. So these side battles, and I call them really side battles, even if they don't include, actual confrontation, but it's inside of you and it's not dying and you have not forgiven, it is a battle. Okay. So this is a favor you will do to yourself, to your health, actually, and to the well-being of the workplace and the people that look up to you.
Yeah, look, an example comes to my mind that hasn't been in my mind for many years. I was doing some work in Singapore. It's about 30 years ago, 25 anyway. No, maybe close to 30. And this was a project that involved a cameraman with a lot of equipment. And the cameraman had all his equipment stolen. All his professional equipment was stolen. That's his work. He works as a cameraman. He needs the equipment. That helps him put food on the table for his family. And I said, well, what happened? He said, I forgive him, he said. He didn't know who it was. He said he obviously had a need greater for it than I do. I forgive him. What? I mean, to do something like that is pretty fantastic. He wasn't holding anything against this other unknown person when the equipment that provided his livelihood had been stolen from him. And he said, this other person obviously had a greater need for this than I do, and I forgive him. That's pretty good. I'll get some more equipment.
I think this also comes when Mohammed mentioned, we have the fourth practice in the leadership challenge, enable others to act. When you forgive, it is also enabling you to act in that process. How you enable yourself and how that actually impact the and what kind of ripple it creates in the workplace or at home, and see, and it will be encouraging the heart of others, and it is that dual effect. You enable yourself to act, and in that process you are enabling others to act, and you are modeling that process, which leads to encouraging more hearts around you.
Forgive the people around you, always, and let people know that that's your style, that's your integrity. You will forgive them, always. And I hope, and in fact, I know that if I go on a little bit longer, that Muhammad, who's got an appointment to go to, will forgive me if we go over time. So, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, we hope that you have gained information, gained an insight into the important value of forgiveness. Gentlemen, I thank you very much. I look forward to hearing your wisdom again next week. Have a great and successful week ahead.
Thank you. Friends, please share the program. Give your comments and questions. Share your thoughts. And again, in case you need a people development initiative focused on leadership competency, we are here to support you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.